are still waiting on court, I will. We're gonna keep it informational for now. We're not gonna vote yet. When one other person comes in, we will. So for now, we'll do a quick round of intros, and I'll get your presentation going first. Okay? Ethan, can you share here? This is Cam. You can introduce yourself.
Rashid Abdul Kabir, board member.
Hi, Andrew Magnus, board member, vice chair of this committee.
Todd Willingham, community member of this committee.
Alright, that's us for today. There are a few people, I think 4 more of us who are not here right now. But for now, I will let you guys feel free to present this co-naming request. We'll start there.
Do we need the rest of the who you're waiting for before we present? Or
No.
how would that work?
No, if they come late, we'll catch them up to it. Or if you feel they missed anything super important, you can always repeat it. But for now, we can start here.
My name is Kenya Johnson. I'm the president of the Brooklyn Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And we have our sororists here today to gather to give information and the request to have a code name of Union 1450 Union Street, the Edith Mott Young Way. I'll bring up the chair of Heritage and Archives who did the petitions with us. Her name is Leah Cooper.
Hi, my name is Leah Cooper. I am the chair of Heritage and Archives of the Brooklyn Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I am just here right now to let you know that the persons who wrote the letters of support are many of them are here today, including our chapter president Kenya Johnson, our longtime. How long have you been living in Brooklyn? 50 years? So over 50 years. Thelma Christian.
I'm waiting for a tree that's supposed to come up.
We also have a long-term resident who has lived here for over 50 years on Union Street, Linda Jones. We have our former past president who also lives on Union Street, Eleanor Rollins.
Good evening.
And
passport.
And passport member. Yes, and we have our guest speaker, Annette Robinson, and she is a prior assemblywoman.
Okay.
And she will be presenting today, speaking with you today. Thank you.
All right.
Annette.
Oh.
Oh, I have a question. Is there a Zoom link that is working? Because we have a lot of people who would like to attend the meeting.
There is a YouTube link, yeah, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
The Brooklyn CB9 YouTube channel should have a live tab, and you can find it over there.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we need to-
And then if you want to present facing the iPad, that's the recording device.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Let me stand over here. I stand this way, thank you. That makes sense.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairperson, members of the board,
Good evening.
of course, my sorors. I'm here to briefly make some remarks in regards to one of our founders. The information is before you, so I don't have to go into extreme detail because it stands before you. That she was an outstanding member of this community and was an asset to this community, as so many can tell you. Those that some still live on Union Street. Linda lives still on Union Street, and you live on Union Street as well. So it is my pleasure to stand before you to support the co-naming of Union Street on behalf of our founder, Edith Mott Young, who contributed greatly to the institutional development of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and also brought the resources to the community in terms of the civic participation. Having been one of those who participated early on in the suffragist movement. And so we are here today to celebrate her and to ask that that street be co-named in her honor. It would be an honor for us as members of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and as well as for the family legacy as well. So I plead with you to ask you that you would vote favorably for the co-naming of Union Street here in Brooklyn. Thank you so much.
All right. Is anybody else wanting to continue?
Do you have any questions? That's it.
I just wanted to talk about some of the things that Delta Sigma Theta sorority has done just this year in 2026. And some of those things include scholarships. So we give $76,000 a year annually to Brooklyn students in our neighborhood. Okay, we also have, we were honored for a nonprofit night at the Nets, at the Brooklyn Nets recently on March 18th. On March 7th, moving backwards, we did Delta Days at the nation's capital, and we do Delta Days at Borough Hall. We also go to the United Nations because we want to do training, learn, and see how we can work on improving the community that we live in here, right here in Crown Heights in Brooklyn. And we did a free mammogram. The Shirley Chisholm Rec Center, we were there doing the ribbon cutting, and once a month on Saturdays we have the GYMS program right here at Medgar Evers College. We also did a blood drive at Medgar Evers College. I think that was in 2025 recently. So I just want you to know that, it was because of Edith Mott Young that she saw the vision to bring Brooklyn alumni she saw the vision to bring Delta Sigma Theta to Brooklyn because she saw that all of the services that we do, the sorority does internationally, she wanted to bring it here in Brooklyn, and her legacy continues. And so because she lived right there on 1450 Union Street, we want to make sure that we are preserving her history. And continue. Thank you.
All right. Do we have anyone else who wants to step up? Okay. Any questions? Any members here?
I'm just curious, why is this coming now? Is it an anniversary of her passing, or of something, like why in 2026? It sounds like she's got such a legacy already. Has this been presented before as an idea and didn't work, or?
Well, what happened was I was appointed the chairperson of Heritage and Archives for my chapter, and while going through our archives, I realized that she lived right here on 1450 Union Street, and Soros had been talking about it before, and so because, if not now, if not us, then who, right? So that's
Now is the time.
Now's the time.
Right. Do you know if she seemed to have a very prolific and impactful life. Do you know if there's other memorial or dedications around the other places that she built her life?
I'm not aware of any others, but she was a teacher here in Brooklyn, and also her two sons were Tuskegee Airmen. Her daughters taught in New York, and one of her daughters had international impact. So, she must have been a wonderful woman. I mean, she was a wonderful woman, a really dynamic woman. So we really want to honor her. Oh, and she was there in 1949. She helped charter our chapter. Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. I remember already pretty much decided, so not that many questions coming in now. I'm curious, what is, like, the thing you are most proud about regarding her achievements? Anyone can answer that.
It's a tough one. She had so many challenges.
Which one sticks out? Which one stands out?
I would like to, I'm a Union Street resident, a member of, Edith Mott Young sorority, will be 61 years. So, I feel a special affinity to her, and you asked the one thing that would make me, say she should be honored. First of all, I think it's overdue. She was a woman of firsts, and set the example for others to follow. So if you just read through the biography, I think it speaks for itself. You know, you say you have raised the question as to why now and not before. Someone has to pick up the mantle and place it before the group. So this is the time now. We have a committee formed. We have a chapter of over how many? 300 members. So it's all as a result, partly, of her starting the Brooklyn Alumni Chapter many, many years ago. So she's an inspiration for women and a mother of a distinguished airman and a wife and an educator. So many things, so many years ago when it was very, very rare that we finished school. So she's just an inspiration, and we look to have some kind of a marker which will allow the young people growing up in the community, visiting the community, to say, Edith Mott Young, who is that? And they can go and look her up and find out more about her. So I think it serves as an inspiration for the next generation.
Very good.
I think a lot of us here kind of want that result when we take up a code naming, because, you know, sometimes we do it for memorials, sometimes we do it for, you know, people who've been significant, and a lot of the time, I think it's like people look these things up. They walk on the street, they try to figure out who these people are, what these names are for, and you know, I like when we sort of show the best we have to offer, right? When we sort of like put things we're prideful about on street signs. So I think that's the direction I generally lead in when it comes to these. Yeah. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shauna Natay Green Miles. I'm the immediate past president of the Brooklyn Alumni Chapter. I also was born and raised here in Crown Heights, still having a home here on Carroll between Kingston and Albany. I had the pleasure when I was a little girl to be with one of the members that helped charter the Brooklyn Alumni Chapter, who was in the person in the name of Mrs. Ruth Scott. And Mrs. Scott resided on President Street between Kingston and Albany. As a little girl, she pointed out Mrs. Edith Mott Young's home and was very well versed in who she was and letting me know as I hung around her as a young lady. I believe that a lot of times in history we say if it's not documented, it never happened. And we want people to know that one of our 22 founders of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated resided in Brooklyn at a time, and then her legacy led to our chapter being chartered in 1949, and that she was here and that she meant something to the community and that she truly means something to us as members of this illustrious sisterhood. So with fortitude and faith, we've moved forward all of these years, but we never want to forget, like the Sankofa bird, of looking back as we look forward. Thank you.
I'm honored just to hear about airmen and the contribution. My daughter's in the Air Force, so it means a lot. And then to see the sisterhood, it's a wonderful thing. I don't see any opposition and agreeing to this.
You're open to motions right now.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Powell, and I am one of the newest members of the illustrious chapter of the Brooklyn Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I had the pleasure of serving on Heritage and Archives, and it has fed me enormously, especially serving on this project under Sora Leah's leadership. And just understanding that someone whose tenet was founded on education, a woman who, you know, someone who, a hidden figure of sorts, yes. Not really, but she did an amazing thing with helping to find this organization, but someone who used education to take her far. She was also a gifted pianist, someone who was in the arts, who the arts raised me and gave me the confidence. The fact that she taught so many others how to play piano, I know that took them far as well. So I just humbly come before you and just want to share some of the gifts and some of the other talents that she has shared with this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any question on this one?
I make a motion.
Please make a motion to support as
Yes.
presented.
All right, no seconds.
Has been
We'll do a roll call. Paco?
Seconds, yep.
Support. Ken? Okay. So with that, yeah, that motion carries. We support this street coordinator. You should get correspondence, I believe, by email in the next few days, or in the next few days after the next general meeting. So yeah, this committee approves the application.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Question. This committee approves. What are the next steps to
So the
make it
next step
happen?
is the full board will vote on the recommendation of this committee to approve it. That will happen probably on the last Tuesday of this month. And after that, you will get like some correspondence, I think either email or otherwise, about the approval. And then it'll likely go to the city council and it'll get installed, I think, during the summer around one of those months.
Yeah, I was wondering about the timing. I understand you only install twice a year,
Yeah.
and I'm also working on something for my dad, coincidentally, a Tuskegee Airman. And I really appreciate the work that this community board is doing, because you're responsive and timely. Not to speak ill of any other board, but I've been having trouble getting communication.
I mean, with all the appreciation you can.
Yeah, and just to let us know what's happening, and
Yeah.
so I appreciate what you've shared today, and allowing us the opportunity to make the case, and it looks like it's going to go through.
Looks like it, yeah. I'm pretty sure the general board's gonna also approve it. And after that, yeah, probably council and then installation. Yeah.
So in the vein of the next steps, would you recommend that there would it be a public hearing format for your general board meeting, and which someone should present as well, or you'll just on the confidence of the information we shared? Just to ensure, because now the full board did not have the benefit, and of course we have information that we could share in advance. But would you be so inclined to have the formatting of a public hearing
So it wouldn't,
at the next?
it wouldn't be a public hearing
Yeah,
with the
per
terminus
se.
because that's a special type of meeting.
Yes.
But I know what you mean.
Yes.
And so the way that it usually works is I, as a committee chair, I usually sort of make a truncated presentation at the general board on your behalf.
Yes.
But, and I mean, some boards are fine with, judging the committee recommendation and putting it through. Our full board is a bit more critical of everything. So
That's why.
So even if a committee makes a recommendation, the full board likes to really go through all the motions anyway. So they would appreciate you all being there to present a second time to them.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that information. Okay.
So therefore, people come to the meeting.
Yeah, come to the general if you can.
Yes. Okay.
If you can, they probably wouldn't approve it, but yeah, they appreciate when you come to the floor.
No.
It would be at, what is it, at,
MS61 this time?
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
400 MS61.
The last two.
That's on Empire from
Yeah, Empire in New York Avenue, 2 blocks up.
Yes.
You have a question?
Yeah, it's on
She
Tuesday, it's
answered.
next Tuesday.
Where was the meeting gonna be held?
Any other questions? Questions, concerns?
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Yeah. But just a quick addition, like, everybody wouldn't need to come. But, you know, it's not like they see for people and they ask where's the rest. That wouldn't be the case. You know, just the speakers would be good, but if you want to attend, you are all welcome to. So I remember we had 2 questions.
Just to confirm the date.
It's next Tuesday.
It's next the 21st.
Yeah, that is, I believe that, yeah, okay.
I'll check on mine.
It's usually the last Tuesday of the month. I think the meeting is next Tuesday. I'll double check. It's probably.
The 28th is
28th, yeah, it's the last Tuesday. It's the last Tuesday. It usually always is. Yeah. If it isn't, they notify us.
April
So
28th
yeah,
is
April
7
28th, 7 p.m. and that's 6 And we have one more question. I believe I can have that.
So I was affirming that we said not.
What's the address? 400 Empire Boulevard. That was it?
Okay.
You had a question?
I'm sorry, we're.
Do you have any more
I
questions?
was affirming when you were speaking of the number of seats that we would need,
Yeah.
and we may not all need to be there. Church finger, yes, we would.
Yes, you're welcome. You're definitely welcome.
Do you define welcome to 50, 75 people? Is that okay?
Yeah, MS 61, this should be. Yeah,
Right.
It's a big auditorium.
So they understand that. We have lunch there, we'll.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be nice to y'all and let y'all know in advance that it's not air conditioned.
Yes.
Okay, there's no AC in there, so just know that before y'all come, alright? Fans.
Okay.
Alright.
That's all right.
Okay, so if no other questions, we're good, we're gonna continue the agenda for a bit. Y'all are welcome to stay if y'all want to. Yeah, we're gonna get moving a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, so next set up is the minutes approval. You got the March minutes to approve. Yeah, change it. Yeah, we got it. Do you have any changes to this? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you for bringing that cardboard cutout.
Yes.
That was nice.
Very nice, very nice.
yeah, on the new business portion,
Of the minutes?
yes, it's more how it's written that to me comes off as kind of maybe what we should be doing as a committee.
Okay.
It speaks to a Mr. Mann
Yeah.
saying that he walks in fear for himself, his dog, and his neighbors. I don't know how we can quantify fear. I think for minutes we should have things that are more low inference. Then it also speaks to the amount of vehicles blowing through lights. We're not teenagers here, so I think this should be rewritten in a more adult way and in a more low inference way, where we're not speaking to things that we really can't quantify.
Okay, so I think we're gonna have it looked up here. Because a lot of this is what the complainant said. So if we can put quotes on that, that would help.
If it was
we're
said that I'm afraid, then it should be in quotations.
Yeah, a lot of
But
the
that
vehicles,
doesn't,
and that's fair. But I want to also just outline one more thing. For minutes, the way the minutes are generally supposed to be written, they include motions and votes and
I know what minutes
agenda
are.
items. Yeah. So like, I mean, if we're being strict, none of this should be here because it should just be what was voted on, the point that was raised. But since we're trying to go above and beyond, we often like write the point that someone raised and kind of outline what they said as a
it's a
transcript.
lot of explaining right now, but I think it's just the tone of the actual minutes.
Mhm.
It should be written about what exactly was said or what happened.
Okay.
When it speaks to him walking in fear, what does that mean?
Well, he's,
So you wanted to say he expressed that he walks in fear.
Well, what did he say?
He said
I
to
believe he said he
paraphrase.
was
Then
scared.
if that's what he said, we put it in
In
quotations,
quotes,
as opposed to just saying he's in fear, because I don't know what that means. Are we insinuating that he's in fear? That's kind of how it reads. And then it says vehicles blowing through lights. What does blowing through lights mean?
But except that he,
I think those were his words.
but it says that he
Then put his
looks.
words.
But it's, I think
As,
what's a
as
good idea.
opposed to saying that we're all
Yep.
through lines.
Yeah.
I think we can't say that that's happening or not happening unless we have an incident
Agreed.
report. We know how many times it's happening. We have to be accurate with our minutes.
So we are. It said he notes that.
We're not accurate.
It
with
said
our
he
minutes.
notes that, which is hearsay.
But this is not accurate. It's
It
not.
is.
It's not saying what he said.
It says that he notes there.
That's not. But that's
Yeah.
not. That's not good enough.
The rest of that sentence is saying what this person noted,
He-
which is
listen,
saying what
we
he said.
can both have our own interpretation.
Yeah, just another thing.
You have your interpretation. I have mine. I'm not going to change mine.
Okay.
Okay. When I'm looking at this is beneath us as a committee. We should be writing our minutes better than this.
Well,
And I believe we have agreement from the person who wrote it.
well, the minute someone comes here and says they're not going to change their mind, we're already at a loss. That's
Listen,
not the attitude anyone expected to be here with.
Ethan,
So that's
we
not.
have agreement from the person who wrote them. It should be written in a different way. So I don't know what you're explaining right now.
No, I think I'm happy to put quotes in. I think it's a good
Yeah,
idea.
I mean,
But
yeah, that's fine.
So we're good.
That's the
I'm just
spirit of
saying,
the message.
It's not as though the minute
Just
says
as everything that the presentation here, it's.
So it's a good idea, we're gonna put quotes.
We'll put
Yeah,
quotes
quotes are
of
fine.
whatever
Okay,
specifies, but
that's
it's
what we're
the
gonna
same
do.
as it's been for years.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Right.
excuse me.
I'm just saying, it's not as though he declared
It's sort of like
he works in
phone,
trade.
but
It's that he
No.
notes these things, which is
Let's move
a
on.
fact that don't want to get tired
Move
of.
on.
No, I mean, the buck does stop at me. I'm not going to let that happen, okay? I'm not going to have someone come and like try to nitpick and see this.
Someone could be a board member, someone coming in.
Yes,
That's somebody on the board.
I know that.
I'm not somebody coming in.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying we can put.
We should move on before we lose floor.
Fair, okay. Fair, good point. But yeah, that's all. I'm just saying, it's, quotes are fine. It's a good idea.
Were there any other notes, changes?
For this, no, that's fine. If we're in agreement on this, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
We approved the minutes as amended.
Yeah. Even if it was yeah. I quotes on really like.
Just before you,
Yeah.
Remsen Avenue project that's on the minutes.
Which one?
Remsen Avenue
Remsen,
project.
yeah.
Oh,
for E. What is this about?
That is in reference to a 2021 discussion we had way back. We're trying to remember all the stuff that started and didn't go anywhere. So this was a conversation from a while ago. Yeah.
It was the part of the Empire Boulevard,
Right,
it was
the
a
stretch of
joint
Empire.
project
Right.
at Franklin and at Remsen.
Mhm.
At Remsen, there was a lot of traffic reconfiguration. It's just been so many years, and they've never come back to us with any evidence that, oh, it's gotten better or worse or some new pattern. So we just wanted some update to say, like, I mean, what's done is done, but my personal observation is I think parts of it are worse and it may need other changes. But after 5-6 years in the ground, I feel like we should have some data now that we could probably have DOT present us.
Because the reason why I bring this up, because this project is closed. 91% of the money was already
Right.
allocated and
This
spent.
is post-mortem, like how did it go?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So you're not just adding things from here without.
We hear all the time that we need to be more conscientious of like how these projects work in reality once they're built. You know, like why would we do this if it didn't work out this well in another part of the community district, you know? So this is an opportunity to get data.
Okay, so we're
On
gonna
a
do data
capital
gathering on
project.
what was built.
Yeah,
Okay.
as a separate note, DOT has outlined to me and they brought up this in a previous meeting that they often check how these installations go a year to a decade after. It's just that oftentimes boards don't check in with them to see results of those things. So it's good for us to take a second look every now and then to see if it's worse, if it's better, that kind of thing.
Okay. Just wanted to know, when the job's closed, then this is how this gonna be paid for, you're adding on it. So, that's fine.
Any other comments?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay. Can we approve that by common consent? No objection? Okay. Minutes are approved with that change to quotations around visitor comments.
Mr. Mark.
Yeah. Is that a question, is that gonna be like standard practice going forward, or is that like a one-time thing we're thinking?
I think it was raised here, I think we can put it in, but, I mean, that's a separate discussion.
Okay, yeah, because we do a lot of, people comment, we often write in the words, like once they talk about it, someone
Yeah.
wants it.
So, or else we just don't
Or
have
white
any comment.
white it
We just
out,
don't,
leave it out.
yeah, then the minutes will just be just motion.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
then other people will say that there's not enough content, so.
Okay.
It's a balance.
Alright, so yeah, we have an open street notification next to the agenda. They're gonna be opening Franklin Avenue between Atlantic and Eastern Parkway, not district, but it's just a notification that there will be no cars on Franklin between Eastern Parkway and Atlantic Avenue.
Is there a press release for this? Do they have the dates, times? Last year was only a couple of weeks.
They're expanding it, so it should be more, from what I understand, but I could be wrong. There's gonna be a more notification code going out too.
Okay.
They
Is
did
it,
notify
is it
us.
seasonal? Is it weekends only? Like,
I think it's every other, I think I heard it was every other weekend.
and is it part of the Franklin Merchants Association?
I think so, yeah.
I'm just
Every
asking.
other Saturday.
I'll see you folks. Got the spreadsheet.
That's what I heard.
Okay. Well, that's good. Alright. That's basically that. Quick notification. Just to carry for the request, so that's good. We have our speed limit reduction review from DOT.
Sammy's log.
Yep. We're currently at number 5, which is the Sunrise Log DOT speed limit reductions. We're going to be reducing it to 15 miles per hour in, two of the existing approved places, which is Eastern Parkway, between Troy and Schenectady Avenue, Union Street between Bedford and Rogers. There's 2 new zones that are waiting for approval, which is Kingston between Winthrop and Rutland. That's going to be an interesting one because that is
You said waiting for approval.
Yeah.
Can we ask how this process?
Yeah, I don't think they're waiting for approval, I think they're just notifying us.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, I don't have the
No
notification.
question, while you guys talking about this, how were these locations selected? Let's start there. We don't know.
It's based on proximity to schools. That's one of their big criteria.
Yeah,
Who's they?
DOT.
Okay. So here I go again.
Do you want to add schools?
Okay.
Are you gonna-
Talking about, no, I'm talking about adding schools, I'm talking about priorities. Because the city came out with this list. Alright, and I've been saying since 2024, alright, that PS 221 is a priority location noted by their own documentation. Right, they put the report together. Right, and in 2025, someone was hit by a vehicle. And now what I don't see is that on this location. So how is it driven? Because it's definitely not data. And I've been talking about this since 2024. So that's what we need to understand. What is the process in order to address high priority areas on a document that was put out and a study by the city? And these locations, and these locations are not even on there. So how did these go to the top of the flagpole? And I bring this up all the time.
Okay. I have a question for you in response. The school in question you're referring to, is the speed limit currently 15 or is it fully 25?
Only 25.
Okay. Yeah, we should.
It's on Empire, right?
Between Empire
It's
and
on
Is that
Empire
something we're
between Troy
Yeah.
and Schenectady.
That's December.
Right, and that is a high priority corridor,
Yeah.
right, for that elementary school that I've been bringing up since
Mhm.
2024. So all I wanna know, is if you have the answer or not, how did these get up on the flagpole? And if you don't have the answer, we should be talking to someone within the city in order to bring the documentation that they paid about $3 million for to do that study, and then they're not following it. So that's a huge issue that I have.
Okay.
Right, and I'm data oriented, I'm not gonna put my feelings in it, this is strictly the numbers. Why isn't that on, how did this get on this list? Who's driving? Right, so that's something that all of you should really need to go back, and I'm gonna come back and ask this again and again. I've been asked in 2024, and I'll come back in 2028 if I have to.
I think it's a really good question. I think from some of the, comparing this to some of the other lists of other schools I've seen, it felt to me, my guess, they were choosing what's like most realistic. Like I can't see them lowering the speed limit on one block of Empire Boulevard and not the other blocks.
But that's
So,
not
like,
the issue. The issue here
I
is
think
how
right, the
selection.
process, I think the question you're raising about process is a great one, I agree, I think as
That's
much
it.
as we can
You
find out.
guys don't have
we
the answer to that. You
But,
have to get
get- my suspicion is they wanna do what they can.
that's
but-
then we need to push back.
I
I'm
think that
serious.
this is,
We
I
need
think
to
this is
push
a
back. If
notification.
they are just going to do what they want, right? But put a report together to identify that in my neighborhood, this is a high-risk intersection for children. And now they're avoiding it. What's happening?
I agree with you. I think that this is a notification with a 60-day comment period before they do it.
Well, you're saying you think, but you don't know.
That's how it works in other districts. They send a pretty generic thing. But
So,
I haven't seen it, I can't prove
not to
that
take
that's
up too
what's
much
going on.
time on this, the board should come up with a motion to write a letter or correspondence to write to the DOT and have them explain how did this become a priority and not the others where someone was hit by a vehicle in 2025 and I've been bringing this up since 2024. You guys need to do that because they're walking all over you.
I believe we asked very, very similar
Then ask
language
again.
in all of
Can we
our
make a
motions.
motion?
Yeah, ask
Can we
again.
make a motion?
We can also include it in the comments
Yes.
to these.
Also, what are the hours here? Because we're talking about school zones.
Right.
But what typically happens is they'll drop to 15 miles an hour. But I'm not sure if any of these schools are in session at 3 o'clock in the morning. Usually they'll do it 24 hours. So it's not just while kids are there, it becomes a 24/7 thing. And with the amount of schools in our district, it's just kind of a way of reducing the speed limit from 25 to 15 by using schools and kids and safety and appealing to people's emotions about keeping kids safe. But before you know it, the whole borough is 15 miles per hour because of the amount of schools. And this is even when schools are not in session. So I'd like to have some clarity on what are the hours of these things. Is it strictly like when you go out to the suburbs where the lights blink when school's in session? Or are we just doing this 24/7, we're starting small, and then we're just doing the whole city to dropping it down to 15 miles an hour?
Actually, do you know, Mr. Chair, if the approved zones have been sort of like enacted yet, if there's signage on these? Because we could on Union Street between Bedford and Rogers is one block that way.
Yeah, you could look at it. But
I don't know what kind of signage is there yet for any of these.
I have not seen signage. I also
Or the
haven't seen like
hours.
hours either. But they certainly aren't telling people 9 to 5 or any hours span.
Who they telling that to?
They certainly aren't telling
But yeah, they're not
people
right.
that. If anything, the most I could suspect is they're turning the cameras off at a certain time and
They don't
turn
turn
back on
cameras
at a
off,
different
though.
time.
You know, when they started doing school cameras, whenever it was 12 years ago, it started during school hours, but suddenly it just got extended to 24/7. So here, I don't even know what their reason for starting during school hours would be when there's already so many other school zones that are 24/7.
Okay.
So let's get some information on what the hours of these cameras are, because it's going to be everything.
Okay. So I think these are all part of the comments. So Ken, can you outline that as how we can include it into the comment? I'm assuming you'd be asking for signage with a time duration for when the speed limit's in effect.
No, I'm not asking for signage because when signage happens, it's done. I'm asking to know before they create the signs, what is their plan, like in terms of what hours do they want to install these cameras for, or where will the cameras be active? Are we talking 24/7 everywhere in our community? There's a lot of schools. That's pretty much everywhere we're
You
driving
want the
15 miles an
DOT
hour.
to come here and respond to us or put in writing what their intentions are.
Can you do both?
Yeah. I think we need clarification.
All right. So I mean, you have a 60-day period, so we can do this again next month. From what I
Yes.
understand. So we don't have to vote on that right now. So yeah, we could. Yes, we can.
It sounds like you want to make a motion.
Someone can move for that.
Okay, so let's make a motion to either, to put something in writing for the DOT, to also invite them to come before the community board and explain the scope and scale of these new cameras that they're installing in school zones in our community.
Right, not this cameras, just like Sammy's law in general, the speed limit reductions.
But isn't that enforced through cameras?
There's no measure of enforcement here.
Oh, they're gonna have to.
It's not in
They
it's
often
like
don't.
prove it, yeah, like
How do you keep people to a certain speed limit
I'm agreeing with
without
you, by the way.
cameras?
I'm agreeing with you that we need to get DOT in here.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I just want a camera. I mean, a sign saying 15 miles an hour in this city that we live in is going to
But
do
who,
anything.
like it could be a camera, it could be 6 speed bumps in a row. Like there's
I-
many ways to slow down
Speed
traffic.
bumps don't bring in enough the revenue that they want. So
You're absolutely right.
I don't disagree with it. It's not listed because they have
Yeah, I just don't see the city as being that altruistic. I think that there's always a revenue motive behind these types of things, and I think it will be enforced by speed cameras. I can. I'm not a betting person, but I bet on that.
Alright. So, okay, so that's on the floor.
I just want to know what time the cameras will be on. If there are cameras, I can concede to that. Are there going to be cameras? And if we do have cameras, what times will the cameras on? What will be the hours?
Very fair request. That's a motion on the floor. Everyone heard that one, so are we passing that back on to consent? Is that what we to that one?
And add
And also add, yes.
priorities.
Yes.
And
Almost
just
forgot
and just
about
like a general primer on Sammy's Law and their goals, because like if the city is saying we're only going to do this at 200 schools or 20 in each borough or whatever their plans and benchmarking are, I think that's helpful for us to know too.
Yeah.
What's the primer that we need on Sammy's Law?
This is a Sammy's Law thing.
I know what Sammy's Law is, but why do we need a primer on that?
So we can know what's happening. Yes,
We know what that is, right? I mean, we know.
Like show of hands, everyone knows what Sammy's Law is?
I do.
Yeah,
Mixed, like 50%, 60%? Yeah, okay. So it's a good primer to just say like, this is what happened, this is the result of DOT being able to drop the speed limit around certain areas. Like,
So
and
they
this
come in and give us a refresher.
yeah, and then we can ask questions, well, how they prioritize, what kind of enforcement they use.
Yeah, I don't think the refresher's needed. I just want to know the hours of the camera.
You wanna go right to how much money?
Yeah, I want to go right for the red meat. I want to know.
How does that work? Like, when you ask DOT how much money you make with the speed cameras, they respond.
Yeah, put that in quotes.
Okay. Alright, so Cam, just to review for a second before we finish that vote. You're moving to get information from DOT about the details of these speed limit traps,
Yeah,
including
I know
the
what
hours when they're going to be in effect
I
and
get
if
it.
there are cameras involved.
Correct. I mean, I know what they do, right? A kid had an unfortunate, terrible incident, and then now we need speed cameras at all schools. So I know the what the basis of it is, but I want to know the hours. I want to know how they're being implemented.
The details, yeah.
That is what I want to know. Because if we say come and talk about Sammy's Law, we might get 45 minutes on the tragedy that happened, and then very little on the implementation of cameras or 6 speed bumps or whatever it might be. I want to know about the 6 speed bumps, the cameras, the hours. That's what I want.
Okay, that's fair. So now that we all heard that, comments on that? Do you have any objections to approving that?
No, I concur.
I'd love
And
to get
also-
DOT in the room.
I mean, it's not that hard. We've done it before.
And also Sir Herbert, Ms. Jenny?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And also I think I mentioned the prioritization, the decision matrix that they use to identify locations.
Yes. And I'd like to also include maybe an explanation as to why we didn't have Chisholm Elementary School including it.
Or can we swap one location
They're
for another?
In the press, I just saw the press release said the aim is it's going through 2029, so they're doing X amount of schools each
So
year.
it's like a rollout.
Yeah, it's a rollout. They just don't have the ability to do all the schools all at once.
So I think Ron's asking why they pick certain schools
So-
first. The ones that
They
get
have a priority listing already, not why they're deviating from it.
Yeah. We can include that as part of the information that we're. Yeah. Alright. So that's gonna be an informational request, probably and then probably also just and I mean we're on the list to come in for this too, but the thing is I kind of want DOT to be more in the room as a collaborator, less as a presenter, because we want it to be a two-way conversation, not just them talking about the tragedy for 45 minutes, you know what I mean?
That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for more of a collaborative approach.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm agreeing with you too.
Yeah, I mean
Okay,
that's it. Let's talk about how you want to implement it. Let's partner. Let's figure out the most intelligent way to do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to a slideshow on.
Yeah.
Fine.
Alright,
Just pull all
so
this.
that
I'll
carries.
do it.
Falco, you noted that.
Yeah.
And just in case that one carried too. It is 8. Probably when I need to go soon. Let's get next one. We have 6 and 7. Alright, so we could table the bus redesign for now. If anything, 'cause we gotta go.
Is that what you're here for? The bus
That's
meeting?
what I was here for.
Yes.
We can always form up some more in the room, and then we can do it in the next one. But listen, for now, I want to make sure we get.
Did you get this from another perspective?
Yeah. So since the bus redesign is not time sensitive, we can table that for now. But for new business, I know you came in for new business and had requests for new business today, right? If you want to talk about that, feel free. But we know what it is.
May I say something?
Yes.
That bus redesign is very important because it's gonna impact so many people.
We're doing 6 and then 7 instead of 7 and then 6.
Why are we
We're just
tabling
flipping.
it?
So the reason why is because Falcon has to leave at 8-ish, right? Probably so that go.
Give me another like 2 or 3 minutes.
Right. So if that goes to this forum and the bus redesign, there's no deadline for that yet. So that's not time sensitive. I've been trying to make sure we get that done, and we've been forming it for a while now, but it's not like there's a
Down
deadline.
in Grand on Plaza Street.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Okay.
There's a lot
And
happening.
those islands and, so you wanna table it for the next?
I mean, yes.
I don't want. I personally, I don't know what we're doing with the bus thing.
yeah.
Like we've been talking about it for many months.
Yeah.
And the skipping of the,
We're just trying to
Yeah.
get some guidelines out so that when
Sure,
the
but we've
next
been
word
saying
gets
that for
good.
months. I know he's been asking for a while, and this is kind of old business from a decade ago. So
Right. So I want to just make sure we get that off the table real quick before we get into
Ethan's
the
call.
Alright, thank you. So Matt, feel free to present. We have position and we have
Yeah,
things
yeah.
organized. So
Yeah,
if you want to get into
I'll
that,
keep
feel
this
free.
quick. I know some people are late. Hi, Mr. Chairperson, board members, thanks for your time. My name is Matt Brumback. Some of you might recognize me. I've been to these meetings before. I'm a resident with my wife and our infant daughter on Lefferts Avenue between Washington and Bedford. For those who aren't familiar, this is a stretch of Lefferts that comes straight off of Flatbush. It's a wide, flat, open stretch of road that is pretty conducive to high vehicle speeds and just general kind of lawlessness within the street because of the street design. If you go north, if you go east, if you go south, you will see various speed treatments. This one stretch of Lefferts Avenue does not have any street treatments, which makes it very conducive to speeding. But don't take my word for it. We have correspondence from DOT saying that our block is, quote, a good candidate for speed treatments. Councilmember Joseph came out to actually visit the street and voiced her opinion. And also, if you flip over the document I shared, you'll see over 30 signatures, including the council member, in support of taking action. And then finally, this has been a decades-long campaign. DOT specifically said this is a strong candidate for speed control of some variety, but said they were waiting on CB9's endorsement, and endorsement never came. So what I'm here to request, it's a formal motion from this group in support of DOT taking action as soon as possible to address this ongoing concern. Happy to take any questions, but wanted to keep the comments brief. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or are we going to vote on this in some way?
What are you looking to do?
I think there's a lot of things. I've seen this sort of menu of roads, diet, implementation. I'm not a civil engineer. My personal belief, and I trust the experts at DOT, is that some form of gate treatment entering and exiting the block with maybe a mid-block crossing, given how long the street is, would be really effective. I know people have lots of strong opinions about different ways. You know, is it a bike lane? Is it a road narrowing? Is it a mid-block crossing? Frankly, looking to collaborate with DOT in this because I believe there's a lot of people who are much more qualified than myself to make this specific recommendation.
When was the last point of correspondence between you and DOT? Was it like November of last year?
So November was a physical visit where some DOT folks, the Great Branch and the council member came out to visit. We've had a number of phone calls and emails since then. I'm happy to forward those over if they're of interest. This committee is on a lot of the CC. I'd say the last time I heard from DOT was mid-March via an email.
And how is it going from DOT? Are they still interested in pursuing it?
It's very stop and go. The last I heard from them, they were evaluating some things that they might do, but this is going back a couple months, and
So we can give you some juice, basically.
that's really all we're asking for. It's just some engagement in DOT's expertise.
Yeah. I was also there in November with you guys too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
and I mean, I was looking to see if DOT would have any sort of choice solution that they would install there, like, you know, we're not gonna speak over any kind of option that they would settle on is a good idea. And it seems like they began the search and we kind of like.
I think, yeah, we're looking for some juice to steal your words, but also we're looking for just engagement. At one point, DOT was like, well, to your point, like, what would you like to see? And there's many things we could do, but I think DOT needs to kind of lean in here and be a little bit more active in a recommendation. So that's what and this is not just myself. This is 30 plus people who live on the block in the surrounding area, including council members.
Sort of like, were the boulders ever put back on that corner?
No, the boulders were removed for some curb work. Understandable, people need to get around, vehicles need to get around. They weren't put back. I have it from DOT. They put in a queue, but we've been bumped to the back of the queue, which I think is kind of unreasonable.
So I think that whatever motion we do decide to put, it should include these sort of immediate pedestrian safety elements and to continue efforts to provide long-term traffic calming.
Question, what did you submit to the DOT as far as speed cameras or anything like that? Did you have any submissions?
Yeah.
What was the response?
Yeah, there's been a number of tickets that we've submitted. There actually is a camera on the streets. I've pulled that data from the NYC public data. If you look at installation date through today, it's a straight line. There's many ways to interpret that data, but my interpretation being that if the speeding is not, the tickets issued, I should say, are not going down, it's probably not very effective. I also live on the block, like I can hear, I can see, I can experience this when I'm walking with a stroller. So we have, I think, evidence that the work to date, which so far has been a camera implementation and some paint lines that kind of visually narrow, don't physically narrow the street. There's been sort of two actions you could say taken, but having lived there for the better part of 7 years now, haven't seen any meaningful improvements. And the evidence we've submitted has been to the ticketing system, which those sort of just fall into a long queue, and we don't really hear back about them. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I know the reason why I asked is because I mentioned this before in another meeting, because I read the minutes you were here before with regard to this complaint. Because you're looking for a speed hump and whatnot. But that, due to the regs and the design manual, your block does not qualify for the speed hump because of the, you don't have clear access from driveways. So you can't have a vehicle come out and hit that in manholes and so that's it. But I would say speed cameras is probably your best bet. I would push for that. It's a suggestion.
Yeah,
But we have one, right?
we do have cameras. I think the issue that I've observed, again, I'm not a civil engineer, I pulled the data on the number of tickets issued. It's just a flat line for the past 6 years.
Does that mean it's not working, or it's just it's not working? Is that what
That's what I would argue as a private citizen for this committee.
No, I mean
but
not
as
working in the sense that it's not dispensing tickets, or
it's dispensing tickets. I don't think it's meaningfully improved.
It's not changing behavior.
Changing.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's better.
So what specific? Because relying on the quote unquote expertise of the DOT.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna. I mean, I'm just not something I'm buying into there. I'd like to. I think as a committee, we're probably better off having a conversation or making a decision of what we would suggest to do and send that to the DOT. Right, rather than relying on their expertise or their collaboration, which doesn't usually do very well for us.
Sure,
So,
very open to that.
Suggestions? I don't know.
I mean, sorry about that, guys.
I know the area. I mean, is there signage about the traffic camera that people can see when they're driving? There's not enough signage there. Yeah, that could be something.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah, I think if I had a magic wand, I would say probably visually narrowing the roadway and having something in the middle that allows pedestrians to cross. It's the better part of a quarter mile with no crossing would probably be a great start. Wouldn't impact parking, wouldn't restrict people's driveways. That would be, from having read and studied the DOT sort of manual of road diet things, that's what jumps to mind for me personally.
Well, that's a better starting point.
Yeah.
And I think when we were on the street with the commissioner, we talked about gateway treatment, so stuff that happens at the curbs and the intersections instead of stuff that's in the middle of the block.
Yep.
So I think that they are already trying to be thinking of that as a design solution.
Wait, is that going to eliminate parking spots though?
In the crosswalk, no.
I think gateway includes like there's stuff like that kind of thing too.
Yeah, what you described as extending the crosswalk out into the street. So it's where the stripes are painted, and that way, just visually, the road looks narrower, and pedestrians don't have as far to go in the crosswalk, is what was described. or raising the crosswalk off the ground so that a car sort of sees the crosswalk.
I get that,
Yeah.
but we had a project here recently where raised crosswalks were discussed, but attached to that was daylighting and loss of parking spaces. So that's a real concern with the DOT, is that they just sort of they partnered those two things together. That's why the question came up.
Well, I mean, I remember that. What I will say is that the angle about that, oftentimes race crosswalks reduces the need for that because it forces people to slow down, which is helpful. But so I'm saying like DOT doesn't have to do that. They could decouple it and just do the raise and not take away the parking.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
If it's a raised crosswalk to slow down traffic, that's one thing we're talking about. But if we're now talking about daylighting, that's a different conversation that the people on your block should be aware of, that you're gonna lose perhaps 8 to 16 parking spaces. Supposed to drive.
On the north side, there is a hydrant. There's no parking already.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many considerations, a manhole here, a hydrant there, parking, like, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I think the thrust of the document I'm presenting here is that DOT themselves said this is a good candidate. They were awaiting CD9 support for it. It never came, and I'm looking to sort of close the loop on that.
So yeah, I think if DOC considered it a good place for a speed hump, that you could hold them to that and have them actually try to install one. Apart from
Signage. If there's a traffic camera there, I drive that stretch a lot. I don't know that there is a very visible sign saying that, like, you know, you're
photo enforced.
Yeah, I don't know if there is, and if there is, it's not very prominent. Because many times as I drive it, I know there's a speed camera there, so I'm not one of the people. I'm not one of the people on that flat line.
Again, this is what I've heard from other DOT is that the presence of a camera, and I don't understand the logic here, means that you cannot do physical calming. So they're saying, oh, well, if you have a camera, we can't take any further action because the camera exists.
Which I think would make sense to put cameras in places where you can't put speed humps.
Sure.
But this is places you can't, according to DOT's own judgment.
And my argument as a resident would be that I'm not seeing the impacts in the data and the sort of our experience on the block. And if you go and pull these camera records, you know, you'll see that there's a power law distribution where 15 drivers are getting issued, 4 tickets a month, going back 5 years. And it's like, I think these people at this point, whether they know or don't,
At that point, it's like a subscription to Drive Fast. Like it's like Netflix for a heavy foot.
Why not solicit
if you can afford it, you can
and have them do like some sort of speed monitoring there for a short period of time? Have the highway unit come out. And they can do it for one day, and you get good data from the highway unit to determine if it is a problem.
But I mean, the camera shows that it's a problem. The tickets are going out on a
Well,
consistent
I'm trying to say because of visual, right? So if the neighborhood sees once in a while a highway patrol car or a cop with a radar gun, right? It just gives a visual. I'm not saying it's a solution. I'm saying it gives a visual that, hey, it's a problem, and it will slow people down. I've done this on Troy Avenue many years ago, right? And it worked. It hadn't come out once, but it worked. It worked for about 3 weeks.
But why, so you want some visual reminder for people to slow down. Why wouldn't we just do a visual change to some of the curb?
Well, don't do
to
them
get
both.
people to slow down.
Do them both. I said the police can be
But this is time,
immediate.
man, I don't have to pay somebody time and a half once every 4 weeks to stand out there.
Well, let's put it this way. All right, what you want is some results. Is it worth the investment? Right? That question I can't answer. I don't live on the block. Right? Is it worth the investment? And you're gonna do it for 4 hours. Just a suggestion.
I think what you're describing would probably work. I think my fear then would be that person goes on to do something else important the police has to do. And then,
yeah. You just put the request forward and then see what happens.
Is that standard for other? I don't know the answer to this. For other traffic cameras in our neighborhood, that they're all flatlining, or is that something that's unique to?
It's a good question. I would probably ask somebody who's a lot more data savvy than I am. I just looked at our block because I was motivated to do so. I don't know the answer.
That's a good question. Alright, so somewhere we have
I
a
think in
few
general, though, we've seen sort of two actions taken, right? We've seen two pro control actions, which is the striping and the camera, which I would say, again, this is my sort of lived experience with some data, but also some qualitative. And then we've seen one backwards action, which is getting rid of these boulders, which was the only sort of speed control element. So it's like net we're at one thing, and as a resident of 7 years, I haven't seen a lot. And DOT says, hey, this would be a good idea to take action, and that's the reason for the request.
Okay, so we got a few options. We have the speed hump idea, which DOT already backs in like a 13-year-old.
We're back, but they've also said no to it.
Which makes no sense, but
right. I mean,
so we have that. Also, not against the curb narrowing in the middle, like a mid-block crossing makes sense too, if that's the case. And you can have some physical enforcement, have somebody come out there too.
The signage.
And signage.
I don't know that there's a prominent sign there.
Yeah.
Is there a precedent for signage on speed cameras? I think it's a good question.
There are.
Oh,
it's all over the city.
Yeah, I know, but I thought because it's everywhere and they move them around that they don't put up signage. Because
As per the manual, you have to have, as you're approaching one of these speed cameras, you have to have a sign there in order for them to notify you that this is the speed limit. And then if you blow back and you hit the camera, right, when you go to court, you say, hey, speed limit's right here, you didn't see it, too bad, boom, you got it.
Is it only a 25 mile per hour, or is it 25 mile per hour photo enforced?
Just 25 mile an hour, forward enforced is a separate sign.
Okay. So that you don't need both signage, you only need the 25 miles an hour.
From what I recall reading the manual, no.
We trust you. We'll check this.
That's why I said from what I recall. I read a lot of stuff and I don't remember everything, but from what I recall.
So.
Okay. Alright. So signage, we can wrap that up into one move and have that be a full request or a full resolution.
But it sounds like the community board would motion a letter of support for an intervention here, whether it's something small like signage or something bigger like a street design, probably landing at something closer to the smaller end of the gateway agreement as described by the borough commissioner.
Yeah.
Incremental is better than nothing.
Listen, if we can put in Washington Avenue as well, 'cause that's been out there since 2024.
I know, it's been on the thing, it's been on the list.
Okay,
And
all right, so let's put a precedence on that.
alright, so the way I see this going is we've had like a broader push to get traffic calming implemented around this district. We've done this sort of one by one item, and it usually gets pushed into like a letter. But I think it's time for us to actually get like a resolution out and sort of show guidelines for this stuff. So I think we could wrap Washington Avenue into, but to start off, we'll definitely get some traffic calming options out. I think if we're moving on this, I think why we can do this.
Yeah, I gotta get them to that. So it was
Let's just
just
the vote because we need it for the vote.
oh right. Yeah. Okay. So what is the motion then? Because it sounds vague, and I'm curious what we can tell him to tell the 30 people that have signed.
Yeah.
Because like I agree with Felice, but we've already had a motion on that. Like, people on his block.
But we haven't had a resolution on it. We've had letters because they usually go. That's communication, right? Because the way that we typically do it as a board is if it's about one spot, it's a letter, right?
Oh.
If you do like a district-wide sort of framework, that's going to be a resolution, right? And it's about time we start that.
But you just want to see something like with CB9 letterhead that says the community board is aware of this change and supports it.
Endorsement is the specific word that
We can do both. We can do both. So
I imagine a letter can go through district office and is simpler and can satisfy
Yes,
his
that's-
needs. But like what you're raising is interesting. I could also see that being a big discussion of the full board, and some people are gonna maybe say, that they don't want DOT. Because if we're then saying we want to not do one by one, we want to do a comprehensive
no, but
look.
it wouldn't need to be that. It would be essentially the way to look would be more like us sort of laying out that we all often will select or choose traffic calming options across the district. And in this case, it would be these two spots, Washington Avenue by the Woodside Garden and Lafayette's by Bedford and Flatbush. And those would be the first two spots. But it would sort of just create like a precedent for us to start getting those out. Because sometimes letters just don't do it.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. I thought we were onto something here.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think we're starting to get into broader stuff.
Yeah.
As far as his letter goes, I mean, we had some good ideas.
We did.
And I liked them. I mean, the signage, the raised crosswalk, some of the narrowing of streets. If we write a letter with those specific options to the DOT on behalf of his block, doesn't that solve that? Instead of a more like vague letter of like, we just want your help, and then looping in other things as well.
Well, one's a letter, one's a resolution. They do have a bit different weight, but we could do a letter.
But I'm saying for him, at least he's going back to his block and saying, hey, we got some real things here that we can now hold the DOT to. We have A, B, and C, and we want them to do these things. So in future communication to the DOT, he's holding them accountable for specific things, as opposed to just like, let's talk and try to work it
I
out.
guess you go for a site-specific letter.
Yeah.
If it's faster, let's do that.
So
Feel free
would
to
that
move forward.
site-specific letter be applicable to Washington Avenue?
No, that's like
See?
people are
We're
asking.
talking, this is 2024.
That's
You
we
have that
can
letter,
make.
please.
We already did that. We did that
The
before.
DOT has dropped the ball, but we have done our part on
So-
Washington Avenue.
So in dropping the ball in 2024, including today, 2026, nothing happened.
All right.
How do we think that anything will happen with this gentleman?
I've noticed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think nothing will probably happen, and it's really frustrating, and someone's probably gonna get hurt.
Well, the difference here.
So what they
but
get,
the difference.
they got killed.
Well, the difference here is that DOT has asked for this letter. Right? They specifically said we're waiting on this one. That's the difference. Like Washington Avenue is us saying, hey, this spot is inadequate. People are getting hit. Can we get across it?
Killed.
Right. Killed.
Two
Yes.
people got killed.
Right.
2024, 25, and then 26.
Yeah. The difference. Right. DOT double ball that. The difference here is that DOT asked for this letter, so I suppose I have at least one more reason to believe they'll act on it. So like, since everyone's quick on that one, we could just. I'm open to a motion on that. So if anyone wants to move for that, feel free. We can do it.
Sure, I'd be happy to make a motion for a letter specific to that, and not.
Site-specific letter.
Yeah, site specific.
And we are outlining
And outlining the
the
signage,
speed camera
the speed
signage.
camera,
Yep.
the possibility of raised crosswalk,
Yep.
with the.
Narrowing
the block crossing, narrowing.
Block crossing.
And that's
Well,
for
the
Washington
gate-
Avenue.
Yeah.
And that's for Washington Avenue.
We can-
No,
we
I
can-
could, no.
Sorry, just, yeah, I don't know if you wanna put the boulders in this site specific.
I
To
think
me,
we
it's-
did outline that too. Yeah.
To me, it's kinda separate, like, it's.
It is separate.
And they should take emergency
It is
action.
just-
Yeah, that should, they destroyed it in a day, it could be fixed in a day, that's just sloppiness on DOT's part.
So
I
it's
don't
sort
think
of
they should be
a P-
scolded for it.
P.S. Put the boulders back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every day, there's
Yeah.
cars driving on the crosswalk.
Yeah, that's
And you write a letter also for Washington Avenue as well, since someone.
It's there.
We have
But
done
we
this
have-
and re-upped it.
So yeah, we get this one.
Yeah, that's why I put.
I'm sorry,
Agreed. Agreed.
I've been really cool. I mean, I've been really cool. This is the president's. 2024, 2 people died.
I
Come
know.
on, what are you talking about here?
All right. Okay. Yes.
Is
Um,
this approved?
We didn't vote yet, but yes, I'm going to ask for common consent that we have unanimous consent to approve this letter for Lefferts Avenue. Yes. No opposition. Okay,
You
that's
got that? Yep.
unanimously approved. That's good. I'm going to approve it.
Yes, I got it.
And
As for Washington Avenue.
yes, Washington Avenue.
Yeah,
Washington Avenue.
I'm cool.
All right, for Washington Avenue, y'all know we did a lot about that. We did a letter at first. We did a resolution on that one too, I believe. And then we even had a multi-way call with the museum, BBG, DOT. We went in that, like the 3 of them have that talk together. And there are like ongoing frozen plans for that spot. So we need to just get DOT in the room here and talk about it and actually get some commitment. Because
I mean, what do you want me to do? Get the police department to sign off on it, or what is it that they want? I mean, come on, people died. I
right.
don't know what they want.
So
More
yeah.
damage.
Maybe one more might do it. I don't know. I don't know about that either. But yeah, I think we need to have DOT come in here and actually talk about this. And like, yeah, have a discussion because it seems as though they figured out anything over there.
We get them in here for the next meeting.
I can't promise it. It's too soon. I don't know when they're gonna reply. But maybe. I can track it. I can reach out. So can Dante and the team. All right. But that's what I'm trying to do. All right. I think after that we have the bus redesign, but that's that. It's 8:30. If you want to table it to next month, we can. Do you have any remarks you want to make about that?
No.
New thoughts, remarks?
Well, just the implications of Sammy's law on Empire Boulevard.
Okay. So yeah, for that we could do that in May, and we could also probably take care of the district like traffic calming in May to bring that back up, and just have that be calming and bus as the core agenda. That sounds good. But yeah, and if we could get the DOT, that'd be a good time to have them. But yeah, so we all set. Alright.
Then you wonder why we don't last. Oh, but they get so, argumentative.
Yeah, there's reasons for that. We've been on the serve for ages. And when we get served is what we don't want. Right?
Adjourn?
Yeah, the agenda's exhausted. We are adjourned. I'll call Allison to get the camera off since we're no longer recording. Second. I got you.
I also admitted the B43 and the